Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. God bless you. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you, both lovers and haters. God bless you. Thank you so much. And I want to ask for your support the more. I'm not asking for money, but it's not a bad thing. What I'm asking for is that you please engage the video. Try to, like the video if the video interests you, and engage with the video, put down your comment, and also share, and at least try to watch some substantial part of the video that is form of support. Thank you so much, and God bless you. There was a video I did this afternoon where I actually spoke about the ladies involved in all these things. And if you have not watched that video, please look for it and watch, calling a spade a spade. Now, before I delve into this matter now, because there is a woman who has come out in a way to try to somehow, give her own, paint a picture and sell a narrative that in a way exposed Halimar Abubakar. Now, but I just want us to look at this whole thing that, for me, this was a deal. This whole thing was a deal. But then it is a deal that has become one way, in a way that the people involved in this thing, most especially the females, they understand how much they can get once the going gets bad. You see, if you want to see, what the meaning of a rage is when you dish a woman. And when the number of women that have been ditched becomes so numerous, then you will find out that the person at the center of the storm will indeed swim against all kinds of deadly creatures, both sharks and crocodiles and what have you. And this becomes a survival of, I wouldn't know if I should put it, the survival of the fittest, because it doesn't actually fit in. What I'm saying here is that in that video, I called out the ladies involved, because these things, they did it with their eyes opened. When they were entering into the relationship, everybody knew what they were going into, whether they were promised marriage or not, whether it was just for the fun of it or not. Like, there are so many of them also who knew that this man was married. Like Halima said, she was told he was divorced, and according to her, she didn't know that the man was a pastor. It is believable, because whether Halimar Abubakar knew Suleman or not, it can be believed. It is believable. She may be saying the truth, she may be lying, but the whole thing centers at now, because this whole thing is now looking like a blackmail. A blackmail that has been orchestrated, arising from a woman that has been dished, arising from a woman that seems that she is fighting to, get her own cake, her own part of the cake, even if it is for the last time.
You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription, and God bless you. Shalom.
I'm going to read you some information that a certain woman who also has been accused of being a damage controller, doing damage control for Apostle Johnson Suleman. I'm not going to delve into that because I really didn't know her so much. I'm hearing about her first in this case of Halimar Abubakar and the Suleman. So I chose to stay within the confines of this that I have just come to know. Now, she came out and she started talking and, making people understand that she played a role in what is happening now, the thing that is playing out now. She claimed to have played a role. We're going to read it together. I'm going to start reading to you, and we are going to read it together, all right? Now, the name of the woman is Stella Dimokokorkus. Wow. Stella Dimokokorkus. Kokorkus. Kokorkus. Stella Dimokokorkus. I don't know, what name is that. Now, she said, this is Part 1, Yimujo. Actress Halimar Abubakar, Apostle Suleman, and my role in the drama. She said, I have thought well about this, and I knew for a fact from all the people Halima has judged this matter too, that she is planning to include my name in her call out, and because I fear no one but God, I want to tell my story and how I am involved in this Halima and Suleman issue. So this is a matter of, I believe that why she probably is doing these two things. From the beginning here, you would rightly say that she is trying to do a damage control for Suleman. But actually, when I read through, I see in it that no, this is beyond doing damage control. This is a person that is trying to be ahead of it so that maybe Suleman should not be in shock, because when we continue to read, you will understand. She said, what you are about to read is the truth and nothing but the truth. And after this, I will not respond to anything she has to say, as she is on a full campaign because her initial plans backfired. So you're going to see the initial plans of Halimar Abubakar that backfired. One morning, I woke up and called someone for hot gist in town. This person is a big name, and the person said there was no gist, but if I wanted to break the internet, I can do Halima and Suleman gist. Now, this is why I told you earlier on that. Now, these are cases of two persons, two adults that had an agreement, sexual relationship. Now, but it got to the point where one understands something that if I should praise, because, probably she has been jilted, she has been maybe abandoned, as you will get to understand in the course of reading this. Now, she find it sellable that, well, people already know me. People know me, people know what I can do. And part of what she can do was to, reveal her breast. So, any lady that can do that already has sold her shame. She is no longer concerned about her reputation. But this is a man that has something to protect. Even though that whatever that was left of him, I think, has been eroded, in the mud of scandals. But yet, is a man that is fighting at least to stay afloat, at least to convince some individuals. So here, this person was giving Stella an advice. If you want to break the internet, do Halimar and the Suleman. Of course, it will sell. People will get interested. So she said, I was shocked and I asked how. I didn't know anything of their gist before now. I was told Halima tells whoever cares to listen of how the man was snatched from her. Are you getting the gist now? Now, her angst and her problem now with the whole thing was that Suleman was snatched from her. You remember Faith Idemudia, who allegedly was in love with Suleman, and she was in love with Suleman until she got to find that, according to her, that tape you listened to, that she was not even number 80, but that this man, kind of deceived her. The same thing with Otobo. You get it. So the rage of a woman that feels that she has been deceived, or she has been dished, she has been snatched, she probably was thinking that she was the only person that was gaining the attention, maybe because of the amount of money that was being spent on her. So she believed she was very special until whoever that snatched him from her, came into the fold. And remember that this thing, I don't think that this snatching happened this year. I don't even think, maybe it was last year or so, but the thing was that she felt somebody has snatched somebody from her. And snatching somebody from her, that means an end to easy money, because I do not think that Halimar Abubakar was actually in this relationship with all her heart. I don't think she was in it with all her heart. She could be in it for the things that she was gaining from it. Because even though she claimed she didn't know Suleman, I do not believe that eventually, along the line, she never came to understand that, wow, this is the person I'm dealing with. She must have come to that realization. But then probably would have decided to go on, since there was something that was coming out of it. So she said that Halima felt that Suleman has been snatched from her. She even offered, let me go back a bit. Said, I was told Halima tells whoever cares to listen of how the man was snatched from her. This person refused to give me details, and Halima and I were not friends. And aside from patronizing her recently, when she made sales on some wigs, we only shout hello or hi on Instagram. As an entertainment person with ears for news, I sent Halima a message if I could call her and told her what it was I wanted to discuss. Long story made short, I told her I had a story on her and Apostle Suleman, and she quickly furnished me with details of what to write in the story and even asked me to drag her well so that no one will know she gave me the details. She even offered to send me a nice photo to use, but after hearing all the details of the story, I developed cold feet and could not do the story any longer. More because I had a covenant not to drag any man of God on the internet, no matter how much traffic the story brings. My sixth sense also warned me that she was too happy for the dirt to be posted. That was a red flag for me, so I backed out, but with my mouth hanging loose from all the expo. Now, if you look at this, now you find that, according to her, that Halima was actually too happy, very happy to expose whatever it was. And that reminded me, there was, a case like this that involved a certain pastor that I know with a certain lady. There was a promise of marriage, and eventually the man found out that this woman is not the kind of a woman he could marry and continue his ministry. But then eventually the man had already sold his birthright on the bed of, fornication. So the woman began to fight. And in the process of investigation, we found out that this woman had a grown-up son somewhere in the northern state. So she was actually legally married to a man she ditched. She left the man in the north and came down to the south, And one thing brought her around the man, and the relationship, began. And in the process, they promised themselves marriage. Now, when the man decided that he wasn't going to continue with the marriage plan again, the woman opened up. She started faking pregnancy. Now, yours sincerely was part of those that actually wanted to find out if she was pregnant truly. And she was a nurse. And we took her to a lab scientist. She only produced her urine. And then the lab scientist insisted that he was going to take her blood, the sample of her blood. It was then I got to know that there's a pill a woman can take. She will look like a woman that is lactating. Her appearance will look like a pregnant woman. We brought women that were experienced enough to look at her, and they said that she looks like someone that was pregnant. But then, where, the whole thing became very suspicious was when she refused to provide her blood sample, because the lab scientist insisted that it was the blood sample that could bring a perfect result. She said no, that she was allergic to being pierced with needle. There was nothing we could not do. She refused. Now, eventually, this was escalated to a higher authority. Now, a bishop pointed out to my presence. He said, okay, we agree the fact, because the pastor was kind of trying to play it down that they didn't sleep together, that he didn't sleep with her, But then the bishop was, okay, let's establish the fact that, okay, the both of you slept together. But what I do not understand is that this woman is not even ashamed at all to broadcast this. What is in it for you? Now, that is it. Now, what is in it for her was that she knew nobody would pay so much attention on her. If anybody was actually going to blame her, it was going to be minor. But this was a pastor. This was a pastor who was supposed to be a notch above this kind of stories. Now, God forbid. You see, in my little corner, God forbid, there are those that will forever be discouraged if any bad story is told about me. God forbid. God forbid. God forbid. So now this is what this thing is doing actually to the souls of people. And people do not understand that to whom much is given, much is expected. Halima, to her, nothing mattered. Like I said, she has sold her shame. She was no longer a person that has any reservation for shame. So, if she could bear her breast, reveal her breast for a magazine or so, there was nothing there. You've seen her, and people that could take their pictures and post on Instagram and they almost half naked. What is there for them to hide? There is nothing for them to hide. But there is a price tag on the head of a revered pastor, a pastor that is pastoring large congregation. Now, so this woman said that her sixth senses were warned her. Now, I wouldn't know why she backed off. Did she back off because she knew Suleman? Because she had a relationship with Suleman? In spite of the fact that she said she made a covenant not to drag any man of God. But did she back off because there was an established relationship between herself and Suleman. Did she back off because she felt the thing was so scandalous? Did she back off because she felt that Halima was not saying the truth? That was not disclosed. She didn't say that. Halima and I gossiped about Suleman well. And we also talked about actress Iyabo Ojo. That is the gossip. So, because she said the reason why she came out was because she knew Halima was going to use her as the last card, play her as the last card. And so she didn't want it to look like to Suleman that even though that she has been in contact and, speaking with Suleman, that she could gossip Suleman behind her. So she didn't want it to be like, all right, this was what, you have been doing, and yet you call me your friend. So probably she is here to expose herself so that however Suleman will want to take it, let her take it like that. But in this thing now, she also did Suleman some form of favor. Yes, coming out like this and stating what she stated here, she did Suleman a level of favor, and that we will establish in this place. She told me how Iyabo was stalking her on the social media. You see now, they are dragging another woman's husband. Oh, Lizzie, sorry. You see, I pity Lizzie. Many of us will say, why is she not speaking out? Why is she not? Somebody contacted me and said she wanted to expose her husband. And I asked her certain questions. I asked her one or two questions. You see, it is, I am very pragmatic, all right? Now, when I found out that she exposing the husband would make life more difficult for her. And I told her, it is not the best thing to do. It's not the best thing to do. Though I understand that the wives of some of these scandalous pastors, many of them want to remain in it because of the money, the accolades, and what have you. But still, if you're a woman, feel for this woman. You see, Iyabo was stalking Halima on social media over another person's husband. Can you imagine? My people, we used to say, Ose nwaku, uze nwaku. Aganu kunkwo onye ozo, gana ebusisi onwefa. Google will translate that for you. All right. She said, and I told her that I would have to call him to confirm some things in the story. And she told me not to do so, that he would offer me money. And we laughed about it. I told her if he offered me that I would share it with her. And again, we laughed about it. So Halima seems to have gotten the system, seems to have gotten the gist, how these things happen. And who even knows whether when this lady disclosed everything to Suleman, because we don't know what she discussed with Suleman. We don't know what she discussed with Suleman. There could be something, there could be a bargain. But I'm just saying because it is possible that after explaining to Suleman what Halima was up to, and maybe she also, in a way, got her own cut and said, let's settle this girl. Let's pay her off. But we'll get to that place. He said, after some days, Halima asked me if I was close to the apostle, and I told her that I could contact him to verify anything, and she begged me to settle two of them. Now, this is where the searchlight is being beamed on this lady. Now, look at this. She said she said he has still not settled her, but was buying houses and cars for other actresses. I'll take this again. After some days, Halima asked me if I was close to the apostle, and I told her that I could contact him to verify anything, just anything. Hey, if you don't know me, you can't just call me to verify anything. Even if you know me on the surface, you can't just pick up the phone and call me to verify anything. Somebody told you a story about me. All right, it is okay. You want to show concern. Hey, this and that, but it's not to the point of telling somebody else that you can call me to verify anything. That means that there is an established relationship, you see. So she begged me to settle two of them. Now, what she must have told Halima must have been the reason for Halima begging her to settle them, which means that there was a relationship established. Something was on, and nobody knows what happened. Maybe because of Halima's temper that this woman talked about in the next, things I'm going to read out to you. And Halima is said to be ill-tempered, and Suleman, we know how, good-tempered he is. And these two cannot work together, except Naira was involved. And probably got to the point where, a better person with bigger boobs and bigger buttocks, and, those things, came into the space, and, something happened. So she said he has still not settled her, but was buying houses and cars for other actresses, and that she could not find closure like this. She asked me point blank to settle them, and I told her I would pass the message across. In fact, I promised her I would settle them, but told her that the apostle seems to have an event going on, and that after that I would organize for them to talk. She was excited and happy. Look at that. She, in fact, promised she was. So this woman wielded some form of authority, and that will tell you the next, what is her name? What Halima, said to Suleman in the next phase of this we are reading. If she promised that she was going to settle them, then she was that confident and courageous. Something must have been happening between them. It might not be sexual. I'm not saying it is sexual. They must have had relationship. I heard Halima was asking for money, that her parents both died in a car accident, and I quickly reached out to her to ask her if it was true and why she did not post it. She said it was only her dad that died, and that her mom was in hospital and she needed money. The story was bogus, but I sympathized with her and moved. Halima told me that she had fibroid and nearly died, but that God saved her, and we praised God's name. I know Halima to be someone who has a hot temper. So this is what I was talking about what probably may have, happened between the two of them. It might be an issue of temper. So I know Halima to be someone who has a hot temper, and once she shouted on me on the phone, and I advised her and told her she needed to change, and that was why everyone was avoiding her. She told me that since she birthed her son, that she had changed. She meant pregnancy and motherhood had changed her. Days after that convo, Halima wanted me to help her ask the apostle for 10 million naira to sort out some things and her business. She cried and begged me, and being someone who loved to help people, I contacted the apostle and told him what Halima wanted. I watched out for his reaction as per what Halima told me, that she was his boo. His reaction was epic. So from here, we go to the next phase of this. I've just read to you part 2 is in 5 parts. We may not continue all of them. We may not finish all of them anyway, but